It gives me great pleasure to introduce, I'd like to think, say, a friend of the pod,
Yeah.
someone who's been back many times, Sophie de Goode, player of the Big Builders, player of the tournament thus far, Sophie DG. How's Exeter? Because are you down there now?
Yeah, we're in a country club type setup just outside of Exeter, so it's kind of nice. We've been in the city the last couple weeks, so it's nice and quiet, and we'll have a kind of a regather, regroup week.
Yeah,
But it's
absolutely.
raining.
Look, yeah, look, it's a lovely place. If you get to Cathedral and that square around there, it's a very, very nice,
Yeah.
lovely place, Exeter. Um, how's the tournament for you so far? Because the attention on the tournament, the amount of tickets sold, there's lots of huff and puff and how amazing it all is from
Mhm.
inside. From one of the lead nations, one of the lead players. How is it for you?
So it's been very well run and well organized. I feel like England's doing a really good job of hosting their welcome ceremonies, even just like all the logistical stuff has been very smooth. So feels like a proper World Cup, which is how it should feel. And yeah, I think we really enjoyed ourselves in New Zealand last time as well, and this just keeps building. So I think it's really positive for where the sport's at.
Yeah, I mean the jump up. I mean, New Zealand was a different one, was it? Yeah, the COVID hit and whatever. But
Yeah.
you're noting the difference and how much does it affect you when you're on the field when you're playing in front of the average crowd in New Zealand was 5,000. We're sort of double, triple that at virtually every single ground. You've been at York and Salford so far. Exeter will be the same at the weekend.
Yeah, well, the crowds have been very in full voice, and I think there's been a lot of Canadian contingent cheering too. So I know we've had a decent number of Canadian teams and Canadian fans coming over to cheer us on, but it also feels like both in York and in Manchester, we had some locals that were getting behind us, which was nice, especially considering we were playing Wales last week, and it might be a bit closer home for some of the English. So it's been cool how many Canadian converts we have as well.
But you attract people if you play good rugby and you're winning and you're
Yeah,
doing both, Sophie. You are
yeah.
doing both. If we can just rewind to getting to this tournament, because it's publicised, not particularly well publicised, because how much Canadian rugby is, but that's what we're trying to change right here. Um, you had a horrific ACL injury. Um,
Mm.
how much of a fight was it to get to Fiji in that round one at York?
Yeah, it was definitely a battle. I think I did my ACL in end of June last year, and then there was an MCL tear in there as well, but they wanted to try to let that heal as best they could before they did the reconstruction. So waited 2 months to do the surgery and did the surgery in August. So almost a year out exactly from the opening game of the World Cup. Um, and always thought I'd be able to hopefully come back. Usually in Canada, I know it's a bit different. Every country seems to have different guidelines. We usually go for about 9 months in Canada in our return process. But then at about the 6, 7 month mark, we started noticing that my knee wasn't getting rid of its swelling and it was just still really blown up. So we did tried a couple injections and then eventually pulled the swelling out and tested it and came back positive for an infection that had been in my knee since the operation. So this is like 7, 8 months onwards. So at that point, I had to go back in for a washout surgery. And I was on a PIC line, like IV antibiotics for 2.5 weeks. And now I'm on oral antibiotics for 6 months. So it's been like quite the battle. I think at that point I was like, well, it's not going to be, maybe not going to be 9 months. I ended up coming back in, I think like 10.5 months to just play against South Africa and just kind of get comfortable trusting my knee again because it was quite a roller coaster rehab. But I feel like now I'm on my fourth or fifth game back, and I feel with every game I'm a lot more comfortable, especially because the return I didn't have time to play like in any club games beforehand, so it's just been straight into international rugby. So it just took me a little bit to get my footing, but I feel like with every game and every training session, I get more comfortable and more comfortable myself on the pitch, but just more comfortable playing with the team and everything. So turning in the right direction now, but it's been a roller coaster for sure.
Jeez, what a story! And that personal fight goes alongside, and you are, one of the leaders in Canadian women's rugby and have been for many years. How much of a fight was it for the team, even just to, you're in some very smart kit there and all the rest of it. Just to get the kit and just get yourselves over to this World Cup itself.
I think it was a fight to, I guess, prepare the way that we knew that we needed to and wanted to against other nations. It's just because of the nature of where rugby is in Canada. Rugby Canada doesn't have the budget of most of the top nations that we're competing against. So we could, pull together 2.6 million in our budget for this year for that's in Canadian dollars, 2.6 mil for the year's budget for the women, which is the most more than Rugby Canada has ever been able to fund a team. But that's a far cry from the 26 million or so, I believe, that, teams like England had. So for us, it was just trying to close the gap of about $1 million that we felt like we could really compete for this World Cup with a budget of 3.6 million and the preparation that that would allow us in terms of tours and camps and staffing and all that. So we've just been trying to close that gap so that we can compete and be the team that we know we're capable of without financial restrictions.
How much does that fuel the fire when you talk about, and you've literally spoken about there, 2.6 million Canadian dollars against 26 million pounds for England? How much does that fuel the fire?
Well, I mean, there's certainly I think a bit of an underdog mentality that comes out, or like I guess a lack of entitlement. Not saying that other teams are entitled, but we certainly, I mean, don't view it. It's not a job for us; it's a passion, and I think that drives our team very much. Um, and then I think ultimately, it doesn't really matter of all the money that's spent in the build up or off the field in terms of discrepancy between nations. What matters is what happens on game day on the field. And so that's always what's driven us is just an acceptance of the funds that we have. And I think we do really, really well with the funds that we have, and we're well supported by Rugby Canada within our means. And so from that stance, we can perform like there's nothing holding us back from performing and beating nations that have bigger budgets.
Brilliant answer as ever, Sophie. The laugh at the top of the answer. I just spoke 1,000 words. I love that. Let's get into the rugby. You started with a bang. Fiji are
Yeah.
not an easy team. 65 points you popped on there. Just a little try, just four conversions, 13 carries, 59 meters, and eight tackles for yourself. Just a light day at the office for Sophie de Goede. How pleased were you guys with the start of the tournament?
Really good start. I think Fiji is a very physical and incredibly talented individuals. And so we knew that we were going to have to um, come out and try to kill that game early and put points on the board and give ourselves, not give them any momentum. And I think we did that very well. Just a little lull at the beginning of the second half. But other than that, I think we were very much in control of the game against a quality side. So I think that bode really well for our game against Wales this past weekend. Yeah, Wales was coming off a loss against Scotland that I'm sure would have been felt pretty heavy for them. So we knew that they would come out with a lot of emotion and a lot of physicality and really pushing um, that side of the game. And I think even though we had prepared about that and talked about that, we still didn't quite turn up in the first 10, 15 minutes of the game. And I think once we managed to get ourselves under control, then I think we put in a convincing performance against another good side. So all in all, positive. Just we need to clean up some things like that first 10, 15 minutes. And then we had a decent amount of turnovers. I think we had something like over 20 turnovers in that game. So just cleaning up some small errors and not allowing set piece opportunities to our opposition would be what we're looking at going forward.
Wow, you're harsh on yourselves because Wales were going to come out of the blocks, whoever they're playing against.
Yeah, yeah.
very humble. Humbling performance against Scotland. Scotland this weekend. Going into that, you've conceded 7 points in 160 minutes worth of rugby. They say that defence wins championships. Is that another key focus against Scotland at Exeter this Saturday?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, as you said, they say defense wins championships, so I think that's where you have to look first. And a lot of times our defense can transition into our attack and give us scoring opportunities off the back of it. So it's something that we really pride ourselves in. I do think that we'll need to clean up both in Fiji and Wales. Opportunities that we gave them were often just off the back of discipline. So just making sure that we're showing good pictures to the referees so that we don't allow Scotland into our territory easily, I guess.
And then potentially, look, if it plays out the way it should, then you're looking Australia and potentially a New Zealand semi-final. Now you're probably going to hit a straight bat here and say, "I'm not looking forward, Johnny. I'm just going to concentrate on the next game, which is Scotland." But look, those are two hugely exciting encounters, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean,
Potentially.
as you said, I will hit the straight bat. We gotta go. We've done two-thirds of the job of what we wanted to do in pool stages, so now we gotta go three for three. That's been our goal entering this tournament, and then if we can do that, then we'll look ahead to what the opposition is. But there's so many quality sides in this tournament. That's what's really ex makes it so exciting. And so I know whoever we meet in the quarters it's going to be a game that we have to gear up for and prepare for, and then hopefully we can move on from there. But there's just a lot
Ladies
of good competition.
Yeah, look, ladies and gents, she's world class on and off the field, isn't she? These answers. Your media manager would be incredibly proud of you. I just want to ask just two really quick because I know you've got to go, and I hugely appreciate your time. And we've got a
No worries.
technical glitch in the middle. You seem to be playing with a freedom, and that's possibly not always been Canada's way. You're incredible athletes. We know that from you playing over here, whatever. I've covered Canada for decades, and incredible athletes. But there seems to be a freedom up here,
Mhm.
up in the head. Would that be true to say? And where's that coming from?
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes from Kev, our head coach. He came in 8 months before the last World Cup, and so he really had to kind of um, put us in a little bit of a box around our game plan and keep it really simple because we just didn't have the time to like develop that much. So we had to do what would give us a chance at competing at the last World Cup. But then after World Cup, he took really took the reins off us and has made us all think as rugby players and make decisions on field in the moment rather than being super prescribed. And I think we had some stumbling along the way, but over the last year or so, everyone's really hit their comfort level and hit their stride, and I think we can read each other really well and play off each other really well, and that allows us to not be super prescriptive and to just go into a game and play what's in front of us and then react off of each other. And so I think that translates to a more free-flowing style of play.
Yeah, you got some fullback who's just scoring tries for fun at the back, so it
Yeah,
all bodes
I
well.
know.
All bodes well,
Just
doesn't it? No,
you've
one
heard the
last
ball.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make it to Julia. She'll do the rest. Just one last question. How are you enjoying being in the second row?
It's fun. It's a different challenge for me. I think scrums are a lot more taxing than they were in the back row. So there's a different type of heaviness in the legs, but I think if it allows us to have like a better if, like combinations on the field, then then I'll go to second row. I understand that I'm 6 foot, so it was gonna happen at some at some point. Maybe I'll get to go back to back row at some point too, but for now it's a fun challenge and I'm enjoying the scrum penalties a lot more than I did when we were in the back row because I feel a lot more a part of it. So
Yeah, don't go any further forward than the second row, will you?
no.
Sophie, you've been absolutely. Those of you who've never seen you play before, it's a surprise to me. It's no surprise whatsoever. You are absolutely world class, and I said entrance you in as the player of the tournament so far. I truly believe that. I'm not wearing Canada colours on purpose, but I'm a big old fan. Thank you so much for your time today. Enjoy the rest of the tournament. Hopefully, we can catch up later in the tournament. But for
For
now,
sure.
go you, and regards to mum and dad.
Thanks so much, Johnny. Appreciate it.
Take
Bye.
care.